Are you feeling stressed, anxiety, mentally exhausted most of the time? What if the solution is right there inside your body, but you are not doing it the correct way? What if I tell you that a simple deep breathing exercise done correctly, even for 5 minutes, it works wonders in reducing the anxiety, in improving your overall mental well-being? But the surprising part is, while most of the people breathe regularly every day, every second, they are not doing it the correct way. One single mistake in not doing the breathing exercise or breathing correctly can make your body stuck in a stress response. Hi, I'm Dr. Rajat. In today's video, I'll tell you the science-based, evidence-based method of deep breathing exercise, which will not only stimulate your relaxation response, improve your overall well-being, reduce the anxiety, and make you more focused, more concentrated, less irritated overall. By the end of this video, you will understand how to do deep breathing exercise correctly at home, right now, at work, anywhere, for overall emotional well-being. How you respond to stress depends upon your breath. Your body has a inbuilt mechanism, inbuilt switch to control the stress, and the way we breathe, how we breathe, is actually a control to that thing. So before you try any medicines or supplements or gadgets for control of stress, concentrate on your breath. Whenever we are overwhelmed by a deadline or lots of work, we are often advised, take a deep breath. Most of the times, we take our breath for granted. How many of you often think about breath? Not unless there is some difficulty in breathing, not unless we have done some heavy physical exercise, or we have got some kind of infection, either pneumonia or asthma, then and only we think about breath. Most of the times we take our breath for granted because breathing is an autonomic function. It is automatic. It is controlled by the respiratory center of brain, and we do not have to work per minute. An average human being respires at the rate of 14 to 16 breaths per minute. That is almost 23,000 breaths per minute. Imagine we are taking 23,000 breaths per minute. And the function of breath is just not plain taking oxygen in and expelling carbon dioxide out. It is bloody more than that. Intentional deep breathing not only takes good purified oxygen inside your body, expels carbon dioxide outside your body, but it is also very, very helpful for emotional, physical, and physiological with psychological well-being. Breath is an autonomic function. By autonomic, I means we don't control it. It is controlled by the respiratory center of the brain, which is there in the medulla oblongata. And the breathing response is a part of our autonomic nervous system response. We human beings have been blessed with, or for that matter, all living organisms are blessed with autonomic nervous system. There is a sympathetic nervous system, there is a parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is for time of stress, and parasympathetic nervous system is to rest, relax, and digest. Whenever our body, whenever our physiology thinks that we are in trouble, we are in stress, for example, you see a snake or a lion in front of you immediately, your primal instinct, your first instinct would be either flight or fright. By fright, I mean you will become fearful, your heart will start pounding, you will respire more, your palms would be sweating. Or flight means your body will have increase in energy and you'd want to run away from that thing. So that is our basic primal instinct. The moment that stress, that tension, that fear is gone, your parasympathetic system takes over. It will rest, relax your body. Problem in modern lifestyle is this kind of tigers and snakes and lions are there every second hour, every 10 minutes, every 20 minutes. There is a deadline for this. There is a financial pressure, family pressure, social media pressure. And as a result, we live in chronic stress nowadays. Luckily, we have the power to purposefully change our breathing patterns. And science has shown that deep breathing can definitely manage the stress. Breathwork or breathing exercises. It encompasses the practices regulating the way we breathe. What is stress? Stress is a feeling of an emotional or physical tension which results from an event or a thought which makes us angry, frustrated, nervous, or whatever adjectives you can use. So it is basically a response of our body to a thought or an actual event. Like I always say, you cannot control the stress, but you can control the way your body reacts to the stress. So we have to make our mind believe that we are not in danger, because our mind is primed. Our God has made our body in a way that means, okay, if it perceives that your body, your physiology is in danger, then it will activate your sympathetic response. That is our primal instinct of a fear and flight and fright reaction. And a continuous stress on a daily basis has an effect on not only your emotional but on physical and psychological burden also. Chronic stress leads to lots of unexplained headache. It leads to blood pressure. It leads to diabetes. It even leads to unexplained body aches and various physiological problems. And like I mentioned in my previous video, chronic stress also acts as a trigger for various autoimmune factor diseases. It triggers inflammatory mediators. And that is why God has given us this deep breathing, a gift of deep breathing, which has been there in our civilization for thousands of years, to start practicing it. A normal person who is not in stress will breathe slowly. Have you looked at a child who is sleeping? Most of children who are young, they do not have stress. They are free of all kinds of tension and worries, and just observe them, they are sleeping. They breathe slowly, they breathe deeply, and when they are inhaling, their stomach comes out, and when they are exhaling, their stomach goes in. That is a abdominothoracic breathing. That is a diaphragmatic breathing. Because most of them are innocent, they don't know what tension is, what deadlines are. We have to take ourselves into that zone. While it is difficult to distance ourselves, the practical aspect, from the reality, we have to train our brain into thinking that our body is relaxed. But when we are under stress, we breathe basically in the upper chest. Our breathing becomes shallow, our breathing becomes irregular, we basically hyperventilate, and as a result of that hyperventilation, oxygen does not go deep inside the lungs. The oxygen and the CO2 exchange does not occur properly. There is more of the CO2 retention. CO2 leads to increase in chances of acidosis. Our body pH slightly becomes acidic, and that's where most of the diseases starts occurring. When we breathe, when we inhale, our heart rate increases. When we exhale, our heart rate decreases. The difference between this heart rate is called as heart rate variability, and the basic premise of this heart rate variability is, the more the heart rate variability is, the better we are conditioned to accept, to manage, to tolerate the stress. Our capacity of managing, handling stress becomes better. According to the polyvagal theory, vagus nerve is basically a bidirectional nerve. It's just not sending the signals from brain to the periphery. It is also getting the signals from the periphery. 80% of vagal nerve fibers are afferent fibers. By afferent, I meaning, the mean is, they take the sensory signals either in form of touch, smell, taste, from everywhere in the periphery the signal comes. They go to the nucleus tractus solitarius, the locus ceruleus, and from there the vagus nerve gets activated, and it sends afferents to somatic systems also, to the muscles, and to the autonomic systems also, heart, brain, urine, intestines, everywhere. That is why the people who have got high vagal tone, in which vagus nerve is activated most of the times, they are not only emotionally better, they are physiologically and physically better also. And that is why modifying breathing, intentional breathing, it not only synchronizes our brain waves, it calms our brain. But it is not only the slow pace breathing which helps, it is not only the deep breathing which helps, but fast paced breathing might also help. And that is why high intensity interval training, you sprint, you go to gym where you hyperventilate for few minutes, that also works for improvement of a vagal tone. But that is for a short term duration. In long term, you cannot do high intensity endurance training. But if you do endurance training or a short term high intensity interval workout, that will also work. Deep breathing or a breath work is also the basis by which most of the mindfulness based programs are based. Breath is the object of our awareness, it is the object of our focus. While if you are doing deep breathing just mechanically, while I'll show in the later part of the video, you should not do breathing just mechanically. You should observe by your eyes of your brain. You should focus on the breath work, and believe me, that is the most important part and often neglected part, and that is why most of the people fail to realize the benefits of deep breathing. When we do deep breathing exercise, we are breathing approximately 1.5 to 2 times slower than what we normally do. That means we are taking less 2000 breaths, and if we are taking 2000 less breaths, it converts to about 7 lakhs breaths less in a year. That much less load we are putting on an autonomic nervous system. In the yogic language, they say the life of a human being is not decided by the number of years he lives, but by the number of breaths he takes. The less breath he or she takes, the more he is likely to live longer. So a typical stress response is whenever we are confounded by stress, our breathing patterns become slow. We basically breathe from the upper chest. As a result of the oxygen and the CO2 balance does not occur, and that is why CO2 retention occurs, and that is why most of the people end up in the respiratory disorders or blood pressure disorders. Vagus nerve is a reset button by which we can control these changes, and stimulation of vagus nerve occurs by an intentional deep breathing exercise. Research has shown that our brain associates different emotions with different breathing patterns. When we are happy, when we are in cheerful mood, our breathing is steady, deep and slow. But when we are tense, we are having anxiety, we are frustrated, we are angry, we are nervous, our breathing becomes shallow, irregular, we pant, we just breathe in this. But when we are stressed, we slowly take deep breath, use our abdomen, and that is what we have to train ourselves to do. So a controlled deep breathing can cause various good physiological changes in our body. It decreases heart rate, it decreases blood pressure, it decreases palpitation, it improves our mood, it improves our sleep, it decreases unexplained headaches and migraines. Because the CO2 retention is less, it reduces the lactic acid accumulation in the body, and thereby unexplained body aches in various parts of the muscles, they also get improved. It also improves immune function of the body. Like I said, people who have got low vagal tone, they are chronically stressed, their immune function basically hyperfunctions, and as a result they have various autoimmune disorders. While the scientists have still not found any kind of a definitive treatment for autoimmune disorders, deep breathing exercise, it controls our immune function. It gives us a good physical energy. We have a feeling of calm and emotional well-being. And for people like me who cannot sleep better, deep breathing is an gift. We do not want that gift from anybody. We have it inside. It is just we have to reset our mental button. I am talking so much about deep breathing. Actually, what is deep breathing? It is a voluntary regulation of breath by consciously and actively using diaphragm to increase the inflow and outflow of air. What is diaphragm? Chest and abdomen is separated by a muscle which is a semilunar muscle, and it separates chest and abdomen. That muscle is diaphragm. This diaphragm moves up and down with inspiration. Most of us, when we breathe regularly, we do not use our lungs to the full capacity. So we just breathe oxygen, and our oxygen goes, there are 3 lobes of lung, upper lobe, middle lobe and lower lobe. When we normally breathe, our oxygen hardly goes up to upper and middle lobes. It hardly goes to the lower lobes of the lung. So that lungs do not expand. When the lungs are not expanding, the diaphragm is not moving down. When we breathe deeply, we are making sure that oxygen goes inside from trachea, it goes to bronchi, from bronchi it goes to bronchioles, and the last unit, that alveoli, lungs has got millions of alveoli, they expand. The moment we take slow, deep breath, every alveoli, the moment is expanded, the moment the alveoli is expanded, the lung pushes diaphragm down, and that means we are actively using the diaphragm. And when the diaphragm goes down, our abdomen should come out, our stomach should come out. That is very, very important. So deep breathing, it strengthens our diaphragm, it decreases the work of breathing. This is very, very important. It decreases our oxygen demand. It helps us to relax. It makes it easy for body to release the gas waste, that is CO2 from lungs. So most important part of the video, what are the ways to do deep breathing? How does one do a deep breathing? First and foremost, you can do it in a sitting position, you can do it in a lying down position. If you are sitting, it's plain sit in the Sukhasana position. There should be no tension, no stress. Mobile should be switched off. If you're wearing specs, remove your specs, sit down in the sitting position. Your back should be straight, and then take deep breath slowly from nose. More deeper the better. And then when you are exhaling, initially you will find exhaling controlled slow exhalation from nose to be slow. But when you are inhaling, make sure that your stomach should come out. Initially, most of the people make this mistake that when they inhale, their stomach goes in, but their stomach should come out. And when you are exhaling, make it a pursed lip breathing, or you breathe from mouth and as if you are exhaling through a straw. Make it like this. When I am exhaling slowly, my stomach should go down. When my stomach go in, I try to touch my stomach to the spine. When my stomach is trying to touch the spine, my diaphragm is moving up. It is compressing the lungs, and by compressing the lungs, whatever the carbon dioxide, the waste gas is there, it is trying to expel all the carbon dioxide. This is a pursed lipped breathing. Second is belly breathing or a diaphragmatic breathing. Again, it is the same practice. For people who cannot do initially, they can put the loose hand on their abdomen and try and see whether during breathing your hand comes up or not. The key is let breath go inside slowly without effort. In an ideal world, there should be no sound with your breath. That will come after few years of practice. You should not force the breath in. Once your breath is completely in, hold it for count of 1, 2, 3, whatever you can, and then slowly exhale. Important point to remember is when you are inhaling, you can count up to 1, 2, 3, 4 as long as you do. But in inhalation to exhalation ratio should be minimum 1:2. Exhalation at no point should be less than inhalation. It should be more than the inhalation. When you are new to this practice, maybe your inhalation and exhalation may be the same, but slowly with practice, if you count inhalation to 4, then we may start exhalation from to a count of 4, 5, 6, slowly, gradually increases. And in an ideal world, your inhalation to exhalation ratio should be 1:2 or 1:3. When we decrease our respiratory rate from 14 to 16 to about 5 to 6, that is the time when our vagal nerve gets stimulated, and that should be our aim, to stimulate the vagus nerve. Whenever we are inhaling or whenever we are exhaling, our focus, mental focus should be on the breath. See how the air goes inside your nose. Try and feel the air. Normally when the air which goes inside is cooler, try and feel from your mental eyes that this air is going from the nose, through the pharynx, through the trachea, to the bronchi, to the lungs, upper lobes, middle lobes, lower lobes. Hold it for a few seconds, and then when you exhale, visualize that this air is slowly coming out, and lungs are collapsing, and over a period of time, you exhale all the waste gas out of your mouth or nose. You will feel a sense of calm. If you are not used to doing deep breathing exercise, you may feel dizzy. If you feel dizzy, you may stop. This is this is normal. After a period of time, with practice, you may become normal. Another method is a famous method which American Navy or American soldiers use, 4-7-8 breathing. It is also called as counted breathing. Take an inhalation to a count of 4. Count in your mind 1, 2, 3, 4. Then stop breathing or stop your breath for about count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then slowly exhale to a count of 8. Again, the key, there are two important things which need to be remembered. When you are inhalation, your stomach should go out. When you are exhaling, your stomach should go in. And second most important point, when you are exhaling, your tongue should be touching your upper palate, just behind your teeth, so that your exhalation is controlled. This is very, very important. You can do it in a sitting position for if you want to do it for stress. You can do it in lying down position if you are doing it for sleeping. Another technique is box breathing. Try and imagine that this is a box. Close your eyes, count to 4, inhale. Then count to 4 in your mind, stop your breath. Then count to 4 in your mind, exhale. Again count to 4, stop breathing. Again count to 4, inhale. Stop for 4, count. Then count to 4 and then exhale slowly. This is an imaginary box. Actually, if you go in our Ayurveda, The stop after inspiration is called as kumbhak. It is called as antah kumbhak, and the stop which after exhalation it called as a bahya kumbhak. It is borrowed from our own yogic breathing. There is also an alternate nostril breathing. Some people call it Anulom Vilom, some people call it Nadi Shodhan. Just check. First of all, exhale and check where the maximum breathing is coming out so that nose is active. And whichever nose is more active, suppose your right nose is more active, then sit in this position. This position is very, very important. This position is very, very important. This position. Press gently with your thumb that nostril which is working more and slowly inhale. Hold it for a few seconds and then from these ring fingers gently press the opposite nostril and then slowly exhale. Next, keep continuing pressing the same nostril and inhale from the right nostril. Hold it for a few seconds and then use thumb to press the left nostril and then slowly exhale. This alternate nostril breathing or Nadi Shodhan or Anulom Vilom can be done for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The key is again the expiration or exhalation should be more longer than the inhalation. In an ideal world, there should be no sound which should come either inhalation or exhalation. What I have found with my own practice is if I press my nose or nostril very firmly, then because the air has got less space to go, it creates a sound. But if you are gently pressing your nostril, then the sound is not there either while inhalation or while exhalation. Mindfulness breathing. This is the technique which I found it very, very difficult. I find very difficult. Basically, you do not have to intentionally breathe. You just have to observe how you are breathing. Just have to close your eyes. Try and visualize the air is going in and air is coming out. The air which is going in is cold. The air which is coming out is warm. Just visualize how your stomach moves with inspiration and with expiration. While in theory it is very good, but it can be reached by very advanced meditation or mindfulness practitioners. Because when you are doing diaphragmatic deep breathing exercise regularly, you tend to breathe intentionally most of the time. But that is okay. That is okay. We are not wanting to reach to that level. But if you can practice mindfulness, it is fine. And last is physiological double sigh breathe. You take a deep inhalation through nose and then again take a sharp inhalation again. And then do slow, pursed, controlled exhalation longer. Let's do it again. Repeat with me. Again, second inhalation, you can take it either by nose or from mouth. They say if you do this physiological sigh deep breath for about 5 minutes, it is equivalent to half an hour of meditation. So basically every deep breathing exercise or breath work you do, it should involve your movement of diaphragm up and down, or because you cannot see diaphragm, your stomach should move inwards and outwards. With breath, your stomach should come out, and with exhalation, your stomach should go in. That should become your second nature. That should come involuntary to you. The more you do, the often you do, the better you become. In conclusion, I'd like to say deep breathing is free. It is easy to do. And it is at our command. We can do it at any time, anywhere, howsoever we want. We can do it before a stressful event. We want to make a presentation. We have a big day. We can do it on demand. We can do it at bedtime. We can do it after dinner. We can do it before dinner. We can even do while we are watching television. Our breath is a gift. And if we remember to use, we can be centered and grounded. Why I'm saying so passionately? Because, like all professionals, we are human beings. We are not robots. We have got emotions. And as we grow old, we tend to become more stressful. The successful people who live a healthy, wealthy, and a lengthy life, they learn to control their response to stress. I would not say nobody has stress in life. Everybody has stress in their lives. It is how you manage that stress, how you react to that stress. That is what determines how healthy, wealthy, and lengthy you live. Believe me, controlling your breath, intentionally deep breathing, the more you do, the better you become, the better the world would be. While the things around you may not change, the way you see things around you will definitely change. Please like the video. Please subscribe to our channel. Please share the video. Namaskar. Bye bye. Thank you.